Morning, everyone. How is everyone today? Just trying to find my little stylus pen here. I'm going to pop on and invite some people. Hope everybody had a very good weekend. I didn't do a whole lot, which is kind of nice because we are coming into summer, which is spring and summer, which is our busy season, and soon every weekend will be jam-packed full of something. Even though my husband is getting cabin fever and is mostly dying to get out on the motorcycle, I'm kind of trying to look at it as I'm kind of trying to enjoy the last little bit of time we'll have at home, because it will be a while. You know, and on the weekends is when I do a lot of, if I'm behind on classwork, my videos and stuff, I do that. I like to do some crafting on the weekends. So, yeah, that's going to become a lot harder to find the time to do once summer gets here and we're busy every single weekend. That's just the way it is. Soon enough, not that I'm wishing anything away, but soon enough it will be fall again, and we'll be back into the winter months when I'll have plenty of time to work on stuff. So I'm definitely not complaining about summer. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it works. Summer is busy, and I don't get much of anything done. All right, almost done here inviting some people to pop on. Today we're going to talk about some basics of crystals. I know we've talked about, I've done a video like on my top, I think it was top 10 or top 12 recommended crystals. I've shown you guys crystals and kind of given you guys a little brief, you know, on what each crystal is kind of good for. I've posted them up in the photo albums, so they're always there for a reference. You can go back and look at them and stuff. But I don't think we've ever really talked about buying crystals. So I wanted to spend some time today and do that. Before we do get started, we're going to light our sage. My sage bundle is getting a little dried out here. It's been throwing sparks everywhere. So we're just going to sage a little bit. And like I like to always do my hands. We receive and send a lot of energy that way. Got my phone handy today, so I'm going to just go ahead and smudge my phone. It's always a good thing to do. I did make a smudge fan. That was one of the craft things I did a while back. And this is what it looks like. So there, the handle is selenite right here. And then there's a couple of different crystals on there, and then the feathers. So we're just gonna do that, or you can do it this way to do it over yourself if you want to kind of get it to go over you. So yeah, that was just a little selenite wand. It cost me like $4, and then there was a couple of little gemstones that were a couple of dollars a piece, and then the feathers I bought at a store in Littleton that had some feathers, and wasn't too hard. The hardest part was getting all the feathers to kind of stay together. And after I did it, somebody said, well, use a rubber band. I'm like, why didn't I think of that? But anyway. All right. And so Tuesday is when we pull a new card from the gem deck. So let's do that. Last Tuesday we did azurite with malachite, which is this one. I wear it all the time. The sage is still going. You're going to see that coming on the screen. It's fine. It's in its little shell. It's not going to catch on fire or anything. All right. Actually, we'll run the cards through the smoke. That's always good to do. When I do a card pull, I do all of that, which reminds me, we didn't light our candle. Got a new candle. So this is the candle we'll be working with this month. Not a very big wick on there. There we go. So now we have smudged and lit our candle. And so now we will pull the new card for this week. Like I said, this isn't really for anyone particular. Just kind of a good way to help us learn some more about some crystals. And this is the one that's jumping out at me. So somebody might need this. It's white opal. We've already done it, but I'm going to read it because somebody new here might need it. All right. So the white opal, again, I'm old, I can't read. Well, I can read, I can't see. Purification, commitment, and joy. It is for your crown chakra. White opal clears and purifies energy. While helping you manifest a clear connection with your guides, you have pulled this card because you need to burn away aspects of yourself that no longer serve you, leaving room for a positive energy to develop. Meditate with white opal to release negative thoughts, thought patterns, experience spiritual fulfillment, and commune with your spiritual guardians. So I know we've had that one before, but it kind of jumped out of the deck. So I feel like somebody here might want to work with white opal. So that is our card for this week. I'm going to try to take a picture of it real quick so I can get it posted up. Because if I don't, then I'll forget. I've ordered a new deck that will be coming, it was pre-order, and it won't be coming till like August. I'm super excited to get that one. It's a Celtic deck. Sorry, I just wanted to take this picture because otherwise, I always do it that side. The light's too bad. So I will get that up on the group page for whoever it is that needs that. So I have a new deck coming. I'm excited. Again, if anybody ever wants me to pull cards for them, just let me know. Just the only thing is, if you ask me like on Tuesday at 2 o'clock, I'm gonna tell you it's gonna have to be later, because when I do pull cards for someone, I do sit, I light my candle, I smudge, I take a minute, I close my eyes, I smudge the cards, I handle the cards for a little bit, I breathe on the cards. So it's not something I can just like do at work and be like, oh, I'm just gonna take 5 minutes and pull somebody a card. I do kind of have a little bit of a ritual that I do for it. So we've done our sage, we've done our candle, we've pulled our card, and so now back on topic, hopefully here. So we today are talking about crystals and kind of where do you start? Where do you, people come to me and said, I don't own any crystals and I don't know what crystals to get. So we're going to kind of talk about that today. I've had other people message me and say, I just got diagnosed with this and I want to get some crystals, but I don't know what to do. So those are basically, the two questions I see all the time. Even in the groups I'm in, I get like, there's just always questions like, I have such and such, and what crystals do I use? And it's like, okay. It shouldn't be very hard. Now, you can certainly go down a rabbit hole into a whole realm of, you know, researching crystals and different things like that. But I'm going to kind of give you the easy version on how to buy a crystal. So, first off, I'm going to tell you that if you are just looking to buy a crystal, you don't have any, and you want to buy some. You don't really have any particular reason. You just are new to crystals and you just want to get started. So I do have a few crystals here that I'll show you that are good ones to kind of start with. And I'll kind of tell you. So a lot of these are actually grounding crystals that I have got here. So, and I kind of have like two of this one. So obsidian, and it's black. They're black. So this is a little teeny tumble stone. So if you wanted to put it in your pocket, you could do that. Or this is what they call like a talisman, and you can wear it around your neck. Another one that I pulled out for you is hematite, and again, it's another grounding one. Throwing things. Black kyanite. This one is very, very pretty, but if it's something that you want to carry in your pocket, it's kind of got that pointy, jagged thing on there, and it's not great to carry in your pocket. Where, like, hematite, if you want to carry it in your pocket, it's, you know, pretty smooth and rounded and not going to jab you. But we have talked about that, but I'll go over that a little bit with you too. Yeah, so sorry, so that's more obsidian, just in a different form. So those are grounding. So typically if you're looking for grounding stones, it's black. One of the reasons I suggest, if you're brand new to crystals and you've never really worked with crystals and you don't really have anywhere that you're particularly looking to start with, I usually suggest grounding crystals just because I think it is so important to ground. I think once you've got your grounding down and you want to continue on with your other crystals, you know, great, because me, I love to buy crystals. I'll buy all the crystals. But I really think you need to start with grounding first and get yourself grounded. And then, you know, if you are made of money and you can just go buy crystals, wonderful. If you're more like me and you kind of have to go, okay, I can buy maybe one or two this week and maybe one or two next week. So once you're grounded and you're feeling that grounded, and then you can start to go from there about what you feel called to for your next crystals. When we're all just kind of up in here and flighty and we're just going to buy whatever we want to buy, and kind of come down, get yourself grounded, and then start the rest of your crystal buying journey. This is if you're just wanting to buy crystals, you're just wanting to start to learn about crystals, to get into crystals. That's what I would suggest for you. Another one, if you wanted to start with something, okay, so say you can get 3 stones. So you can get a grounding stone, which was your obsidian, your kyanite, your hematite. You could get a rose quartz. So a rose quartz is a very nice, soft, gentle stone. It's for love, to help bring and send love. And I've shown you guys this a million times before, but I'll show you again. So on this wrist right here is my hematite bracelet. So this is my receiving hand. So I am keeping negative grounding in my receiving hand. This is my sending hand, and there's my rose quartz right here. So I'm sending out love. So that's the way I choose to use them. Another good one to start with is quartz. Now, quartz is going to amplify whatever you have around you. So if you are a person who is in a very hectic, crazy, stressful life, quartz might not be the one you want to start with because it could possibly amplify that. But if you're buying this set, so if you're gonna go out and you're gonna buy hematite and you're gonna buy a rose quartz for love. So you get your protection and your love. You could then put in a quartz with those because that quartz is going to amplify these two stones for you. If you just went out and bought just a quartz and nothing else, that quartz could possibly amplify whatever is going around, whatever energies are already around you. So if that is stress and chaos, depression, anger, any of those things, you might not want to start with this. But if you're buying other ones, it's a great way to amplify them. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Jen, you're watching. Does that make sense? You can also get, I have a little teeny tiny quartz here. So you can buy, I think, I just wanted to kind of give you the scale of, like, this is a good size to put in your pocket. But if you're going to do some grid work, you could buy very, very tiny ones. Or if you were going to make jewelry, you could buy tiny ones. Or you can buy some big ones and place them around your altar or your house. So again, there's all different sizes. There's all different kinds of shapes. We've talked about this is a raw, so it's rough, scratchy. This is a tumbled, so it's nice and smooth. And we have gone over some other ones. We've gone over, there's the pyramid. And then there's the generators. You can get what's called a Vogel. So it is pointy on both ends, one smaller than the other. You can get them that are pointy on both ends that are more equal. That's just called double terminated. So there's all kinds of different ways. This is a new one. So this is a cone. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's 8-sided versus the triangle being, trying to get it so you can see it's 8 versus the triangle, which is obviously just 2, 3. All right, so kind of getting off topic here a little bit. So again, if you just want to buy a crystal, you're just starting in with crystals, you don't really know where to start, what to buy, grounding ones, which are typically black, a rose quartz or quartz are good ones to start with. Amethyst is also a good one to start with. I have amethyst all over the place, but this is a little amethyst generator that I have. I have an amethyst ring, but it broke, so I have to fix it so I can put it back on. So amethyst is a good one, and that goes to your crown chakra. Rose quartz would go with your heart chakra, so love, obviously, heart chakra. All right. So, to tell you a little bit quick about why we say these are for what they are for. Somebody somewhere did all kinds of science on them. But it's also just knowledge passed down, and it works. So, each different stone is created in the earth over time. And so depending on the color, if it's see-through or not see-through, and all those things depend on what part of the earth they came from, the time they came from, what was going on when they were being developed. So there's all different things that really go into what forms to make a crystal. Each of these comes from Mother Earth. Every single one of these comes from Mother Earth. Nobody man-made these. You can certainly get pieces that are man-made that are basically heated colored glass. So I will warn you about that. Definitely when you're buying online. I ordered 2 crystals on Amazon. Nothing wrong with Amazon. Amazon has a lot of great products, but this particular seller was not good. And I got 2 glass marbles. I did not get crystals. They were colored glass. So just beware when you're buying online. I, from there, will not buy crystals on Amazon. There's probably people out there that sell them on Amazon that are perfectly fine. I just choose not to now. 2 bad stones, that's good for me. I'm done. They're not even stones, they're marbles. You can certainly buy on eBay. You can buy on Etsy. Just, again, eBay and Amazon and Etsy and stores like that are online are people in their homes posting, and they can post whatever they want to post on that post. They can type in whatever they want for a description, and it doesn't have to be accurate. Now, on a lot of those sites, if people do go on and leave bad reviews, they usually do get blocked eventually. So check the seller reviews. If they have, you go, oh, they got 4 stars, but only one person has left a review, I would not necessarily buy from that person. If they've had 100 sales and they've still got 4 stars, then they're probably perfectly fine to buy from. But just beware of that. The other thing, so there are a couple different places you can buy crystals that are very reputable. Sage Goddess is one. There are some other ones out there, and you can, there's the Crystal Network, I think, which is one of them. Hibiscus Moon is a good place to start. There's lots of different places out there. The Enchanted Sisters, I like them. I haven't bought anything from them, but I do like them. They have, they do a lot more class stuff than selling stuff. But anyway, if anybody's interested, I could certainly give them a list of different places they could start to buy crystals if you want to buy them online. The other thing I want to mention about buying online is that a lot of people, and myself included, are like, I could get that cheaper somewhere else. Well, I'll tell you what. If you are getting crystals super cheap, well, yay, good for you. You got it super cheap. And I say that kind of because it's not really yay for me. Because I will tell you in my experience that if you are getting crystals online super cheap, they are probably coming from sources. It almost chokes me up a little bit. Even this comes from sources that probably have children working in those mines or mining those crystals, and they don't pay them, or they don't pay them much. So when you can get a crystal off Sage Goddess, sometimes they're $4 or $5. And then you go, well, I can buy one on this other site for $2. You know, I don't think $4 or $5 or even $9 or $10 is too much to pay to know that it came from a reputable mine with actual employees that get paid, and it's not child labor. So that is my feel on it. I will pay more and stay on a reputable site so that I know that I am not feeding into that kind of a market. And I don't want to talk about that anymore because it makes me sad. All right. So that is my little spiel about buying online. Be aware of who you're purchasing from if you're purchasing on like Amazon, eBay, Etsy, any of those stores. Make sure you're checking the ratings. And if you're buying from an actual crystal site, make sure you know who you're purchasing from. There's probably a lot out there. I haven't done research on it. I buy mine from a couple of different places, and I'm comfortable with those places, and I'll just continue to use those places. So I haven't branched out to see if there's a bunch of different other places, but there probably is. So that's the online part. Now, if you're going to go into a crystal store, so this is more hands-on, because if you go to Sage Goddess and order a quartz, they're going to pick a quartz and put it in your package. That's pretty much all there is to it. If you're looking for something very specific, so like if I'm just adding to my collection, going online and just adding to my collection is great. But if you're really looking for something with more of an intention, I do recommend going to an actual shop and purchasing and doing it that way. With my pendulum, so I like to do a lot of pendulum work, and I spent probably 6 or 7 months. I went to a couple different crystal places. I went to a lady that had different pendulums. I went a couple different places. They certainly had them on Sage Goddess to buy, but I felt that I really needed to connect with my pendulum because it was something that I do use a lot. And my mom and my son and I went to a little metaphysical event, had a couple different people selling stuff, and did some card readings and stuff. And I walked in and there was a guy that was checking people in, and he had 10 or 12 pendulums sitting beside him, and I just said, "Are those for sale?" And he said, "Oh yeah, they are." And I instantly grabbed one and said, "This one's mine." I just knew that was the one, and it sits right here. And I do use it quite a bit. So if you ever have pendulum questions, you can certainly ask me that, and I can help you with that too. Pendulum questions are typically yes, no questions. That's the easiest way to put it. So if you just have a yes, no question, should I take this job? Yes or no? You know, things like that. Should I go on this vacation? Yes or no? Those are good, easy questions. You know, or if you got more of a something's going on in your life kind of question, then you want to use one of the decks. All right, back to crystals here. So when you're in a shop and you are looking for a crystal, now there's two things when you're in a crystal shop. First off, again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking whoever's working, the owner, the store clerk, or whatever, where their crystals come from. I do. There are 2 shops that so far I really like. One is in Littleton and one is in North Conway. The one in Littleton I really like. He didn't have a lot when I was there, but he was just opening, just starting, and he did post on Facebook that he's expanding. But all his crystals either came from an estate sale, so you kind of don't know where those crystals came from, but the crystals have been bought and been sitting around forever, and they weren't just mined. So they came from an estate sale that somebody had a huge collection, and he purchased the estates to that. So he does that for crystals. The rest of the crystals he digs himself. He just went to Virginia for a week to dig. He's been to New York to dig, New Hampshire, Maine, and his stones he digs himself. So I'm pretty okay with buying from him. The other man, he said, well, they do come from all over the place. And he wasn't really able to tell me exactly like where they came, how he got them and stuff, but he buys them from a bulk person. But I felt okay in there buying his crystals. That was a personal call. I felt comfortable in there, and I felt comfortable to buy. Even though I don't really know exactly where they're sourced from. So, that's a big thing, is ask where it's sourced from. But again, two things when you're in there looking. So if you're just looking for crystal, not anything particular, my advice is to walk all around the store, depending on if it's big or small or whatever. Walk all around the store, and you will find one that you kind of pick up and go, oh, that's pretty, and you may put it down. And then you walk around and you're like, I really like that one. That one was pretty. That's the one you need to get. If your mind comes back to it after you've set it down, that's the one you need to purchase. If you looked at it and you set it down and then you're like, oh, that was pretty, but then you went around the corner and you go, oh, this one's really pretty, and then your mind is going back to that one, that's the one you need to buy. You need to trust that if your brain is going back to a certain crystal, that's the one you need to buy. So that's like if you've got, most of them, they'll have a bunch of bins. So you'll have a bin of, quartz, a bin of jasper, what agate, whatever. And like I said, if you pick one up and you're like, oh, that's pretty, and you put it down, and then you don't really think about it again, that's probably not the stone you're meant to have. If you get halfway through the store and you're still thinking about that crystal, that's the crystal you need to go back and get. So it's really trusting your own intuition on that. If you are in a crystal shop purchasing something for a little bit more of an intention, we're going to kind of talk about that. Again, this will go as well to if you need to buy online, because you can certainly, if you have an intention, a specific crystal that you're looking to purchase, and you don't have a crystal shop near you, you can't get to the crystal shop near you, whatever the reason is, that's fine. There's no right or wrong way. What I'm explaining to you is what I've learned and how I do it. If you choose to do it different, that's perfectly fine. I'm just trying to give you some insight on how I do things from what I've learned, and some things to kind of watch for. Like I said, some of the things to do and not do. Sorry, all of a sudden my sinuses are like, I can't breathe, and I sound like I'm talking through my nose. So there's definitely some things, you want to stay away from when buying crystals, and be cautious of when buying crystals. But if you're buying something with a little bit more of an intention, so I had a friend of mine come to me, and she had been diagnosed with something, and she kind of said, I don't know where to kind of start. I mean, she didn't say exactly those words, but conversation back and forth and stuff, and and I was helping her, and that's kind of what made me think, plus, like I said, I've seen some other comments in other groups of, well, what do I use for this, and what do I use for this, and what do I use for this, and it's like, okay, so maybe we need to just go back and touch on some of this. Because what's basic to me, if you've never learned it, then you don't know. So, so if you're looking for a particular stone, and then you go, well, how do I know what stone I'm looking for? So if you have something going on emotional that you're looking to work with a stone, you need to sit and think about what emotion, where that emotion sits. Okay, and that's where you're going to go back to your chakras. So I don't want to get too much into it to the chakras, but each of your chakras is aligned with a time frame. So your root chakra is, your birth, and then as you go up, it goes into your teens. So if anybody has a question on that, I can certainly help them. If they say, well, I had trauma when I was around age 5, I can let you know what chakra that goes with. I don't want to get into going over all the chakras right now. It's just going to take too much time. So you can find out where that emotion sits. If you don't really know where that emotion sits, as far as like a timeline goes, or so maybe it's heartache and you were 40, so that's not going to really line up with a chakra as far as timeline goes, but it's heartache, so it's going to go with your heart chakra. Any kind of loss or grieving or anything like that is going to go with your heart chakra. Okay. If I can't really think of, like, basically a lot of the emotional ones, I think that, there's joy and happiness and all kinds of great positive things, and you can certainly boost those things as well. But most people, when they're coming to work with a chakra, with a crystal, it's more of they've got something on the negative side that they kind of want to work out of. But again, I can't go into every single thing here. If you have a question, message me, put it in the comments. I will, give you answers, but I can't kind of get into every emotion, every chakra. Those are whole other videos coming, I guess. But you can line them up to where they go. Okay. So for me, one of the things that I struggle with is the not good enough. Like, I don't like it when people make me feel not good enough, especially when I've worked on something, and I've done a lot of work on it, and then somebody makes me feel like it's not good enough. That links down to my root chakra, which typically is birth to, like 18 or months, I think, roughly. But I actually think mine is linked to before birth, to a past life. But if I wanted to work on my root chakra, your chakra for the color for your root chakra is red. So you would use a red stone. All right. So emotion-wise, you're going to stick with the chakra colors. The same with if it's an actual illness. So if you have, I'm going to go kind of talk about migraines, because I think that's just a good example to use. So if you're somebody who has migraines, which is typically, like right through this area, that is going to be your third eye chakra. And you are going to want to work with things that are kind of like in that indigo blue color. Blue is your throat and purple is your crown, but your third eye is kind of like that indigo-y, purpley blue. And so the reason I wanted to talk about migraines a little bit, and I'm probably jumping the gun here, but I'm watching the clock tick away here. So let me just go back a teeny bit. So if you, I'm going to go over this real quick. If you are having physical problems with your girl or boy parts in that region, that's your root chakra. That's red. If you're having problems more with intestines or your for women, your your reproductive organs and things like that, that would be orange. And then if you are having more of a tummy issue, that would be yellow. If you are having anything, so as girls or boys, chest issues, your boobies, or even, like chest pains, your lungs, your heart, your esophagus, all those things are kind of right there. That would be green. From here to, actually, I'm going to say here, up to here, would be your throat chakra, because your nose and your mouth and everything are all connected to your throat. So that would be blue. And then this little space right here is the indigo. So that would be the migraines, things of that sort. Eye problems would be indigo. Crown chakra, kind of is a little harder because it is the top of your head. So can't think of anything off the top of my head that an illness would be at the top of your head. But I guess it's possible. First thing I think is brain cancer, which is horrible. I don't ever wish brain cancer on anybody, but if you had brain cancer, you could work with that. That would be purple. So that's an easy way to start your crystal buying. So if you know you're having tummy issues, not intestine, because your stomach and your intestines are two different things. If you're having intestinal issues, that's orange. If you're actually having stomach, like if you have stomach ulcers, you would use yellow. So does the dog's making noises? So again, if you have questions, you can certainly ask me if you're not exactly sure, because sometimes when people say they have tummy problems, it's actually it's an intestinal issue and not really a stomach issue, things of that sort. So if you're not exactly sure on that, just let me know, and I can help you narrow that down. But your chakras all have a color, and I'm sure at some point you guys have all seen a picture of the person with the chakras and the little colored dots all over them. They're easy to find. They're all over the internet. I don't feel I need to post one, but I can if you guys want me to. They're easy to find. There's a million of them on the internet of the chakras. Those chakras are going to line up to the colors of your crystals. There's a reason they're the color that they are. So again, if you're having some timeline issue, for me, it's my root chakra. So I would want to work with a red stone. I have a lot of issues going on with my throat. I've had a lump removed. I have 2 lumps on my thyroid. So then I am going to want to work with blue. Okay, makes sense. So again, it can be broken down emotional, it can be broken down by timeline, and it can be broken down by, actual body, to figure out what crystal you need to go work with. The reason I had picked migraine is because I kind of wanted to break down. Migraine is one that's a little easier for me to explain. So if somebody came to me and said, I have a migraine and I want to know which crystal to use. So me personally, and I don't know if how other people do things, I can't speak to that. But me personally, if you came to me and said, I have migraines and I need a crystal, my first question is going to be, have you been to a doctor? Because crystals are not going to heal you. Crystals can help the healing process, but crystals alone are not necessarily going to heal you. Especially when it comes to the physical aspect. The emotional aspect is a little different, or the timeline aspect is a little different. But again, the crystals aren't going to heal you, they're going to help you. You have to do the work and process through whatever you got going on. Just like if it's an actual physical issue, you have to go to a doctor. So I'm going to say, did you go to a doctor? And they're going to say yes, and there's nothing wrong with me. And then my next question for a headaches or migraines is going to be, did you go see an eye doctor? And if they say, yeah, I went and saw an eye doctor and I don't have anything wrong with my eyes, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to help you either way. I'm going to tell you a crystal either way. But I just want people to understand that when somebody comes to me and says, I've been having chest pains and Julie gave me a green crystal and I'm going to be okay now. No, you still need to go to a doctor. If you're having physical, even emotional, if it's really something traumatic that's emotional, I'm going to tell you, you need to go talk to somebody. I'm not a therapist. I can certainly ask the pendulum. I can certainly pull a card for you, and I can certainly help in giving you some directional information on how to process things. But I am not a therapist and I am not a medical doctor. So when you come to me with these things, be prepared. I am going to ask you those things. It is not going to be, I have chest pain and Julie gave me a green crystal and now my life is going to be wonderful and I'm going to be okay. You still need to go see a doctor. So for migraines, like I said, I wanted to use that one because you can go see the actual doctor to see if there's something going on. They may do a CAT scan. They may do some blood work, whatever medical doctors do. If the medical doctor says, nope, we can't find anything, my next question is going to be, did you go see an eye doctor? Because typically, I'm going to say probably 75%, and I'm guessing at that number, but 75% of people that tell me that they have migraines or headaches is because they're not either wearing glasses or they're not wearing the correct glasses. And you don't need a crystal, you need a new pair of glasses. If you want a crystal, great, but you need a new pair of glasses. So I'm not going to just try to sell you a crystal just to sell you a crystal. That is what I do. I sell crystals, but that's not really my job, I guess, I don't know if job's the right word either, but to me, my job is to help you get better. Now, if that means working with a crystal or meditating or grounding or using a singing bowl or, the million other things that we can do, that's great, but I'm still probably going to tell you go see a doctor. If you don't go to the doctor, then that's on you. But you can't be like, Julie gave me a green crystal and my life is okay now. It doesn't work that way. So they can help you. They're a tool. Just like an aspirin is a tool. If you have a headache, you can take an aspirin. It's going to get rid of the headache. But if you're getting headaches all the time, then probably aspirin is not the best solution. You need to go to, you need to go to a doctor and see why you keep getting headaches. So that's why I wanted to use headaches, because to me it was an easy analogy of things that could possibly be wrong with us, as far as there could be multiple different things going on. And again, if you message me and say, my elbow hurts, that's a little bit different. There's not really a chakra maybe that lines up with. But like you said, well, I banged it and it hurts. I'm like, okay, I can certainly give you some basic healing crystals, but put some ice on it. So it is a little, a little bit more detailed than just go buy a crystal and you'll be okay. Because that's not always how it works. So I hope I didn't totally confuse everybody. But like basically, so if you are going to go buy a crystal, you need to decide if you're going to buy it online and do a little bit of research. If you're going to buy in the store, especially if it's something that needs an intention, like you're not just adding to your collection, I would recommend going to a store and actually pay attention to which crystals are speaking to you. I know people won't necessarily think it that way, but if you think it's pretty and you put it down and you're still thinking about it 10 minutes later, that's the crystal you need to go back and buy. Okay. And then to figure out which crystals you need to work with, just basically think of the chakra colors. That's the easiest way to do it. Once you've got, so say you're somebody who, I'm going to say throat, because that's my big thing, is my throat. So all these are blue. All my crystals here that I'm wearing, my gemstones here are blue. So when I knew I needed some throat chakra work, I knew I needed blue. And so I just started buying blue crystals. Like I was just buying anything blue that I could find. Well, then I started actually learning about the crystals and finding which ones were kind of the ones that I really was interested in. Other ones are just ones that like, oh, I like that one. That one's calling to me. That's the one I really want. But there are a ton of blue crystals. I cannot wear every blue crystal around my neck. So I have picked the 3 blue that I was called to. And again, called to just means I was drawn to them. I liked them. They stood out to me, whatever the terminology you want to use. It's all the same thing. So these are the ones that I wear for my blue, for my throat. I have a lot of different throat issues, physically and emotionally throat issues. But that's a whole nother story. So real quick before I have to go, once you have your crystals, the biggest thing you're going to want to do before you do anything is you're going to want to cleanse them and clear them. So there's a bunch of different ways. I believe there is a video on here on cleansing and clearing your crystals, so you can go back and find that video. But you can run them under water. And if you do that, make sure because there are some crystals that will dissolve in water. So do a little research. I don't choose to use water just because it's like, there's other ways to do it that I don't have to do research on which ones I can and can't do that way. You can use the moon. You can charge them by the moon. You can charge them by water. You can clear them with sage. Sorry, I'm getting this mixed. I'm probably confusing you a little bit. So cleansing or clearing. You can use smudge. So you can use sage, or you can use your Palo Santo stick, or you can use water to cleanse them or clear them. Okay? Then to charge them, you can also use water to charge them. So some people choose to use water because you can cleanse and charge at the same time. There's different methods, and again, I can't get into all those different methods. But if you are somebody that is just starting out with crystals and you've bought your crystals, the easiest thing to do is to buy a little bundle of sage. You can get them on Sage Goddess. You can get a mini bundle for like $6. and then whatever the coupon code is for today. Like right now it's 18% off. So you can get them super cheap. Lots of herb shops may have them. You can even go into the kitchen section of your grocery store, and buy a spice bottle of sage and put it in a little bowl and light it on fire and burn it, or put it on a charcoal disc and burn it, or whatever you want to do, and make the smoke and put your crystals over them that way. I mean, there's always a way if you want to find a way. So you're going to want to clear them and then charge them. So you can charge them again by water, but again, that takes some research because you want to know which crystals you can and cannot use in water. You can charge them by the sun, or you can charge them by the moon. That is what I used. That is what I use. So I clear my crystals with a smudge. It's easy. I get a crystal, light my smudge, run it around a few times. It's all good. Then you're going to want to charge it. I use the full moon. So when I know the full moon's coming, all my crystals go down into my bedroom because I have a big window and the moonlight comes right in there, and all the crystals go on my counter out there and they get charged. So I'll have to take them down, set them there. In the morning, I pick them up and put them back. You are going to want to set an intention with your crystal. Basically, that's going to be real easy because you've got your intention because you already know what you want. So for this, I'm going to just say it's somebody who's lost a loved one. They may want a pink. That does remind me. So heart chakra is green, okay? But pink is also linked to your heart chakra because pink is love. So your heart chakra actually can go green or pink. But if, trying to make this not confusing, but if you're actually talking about physical ailments, your lungs, your heart, things like that, you definitely want to stick with the green. Okay, so if you're more on the emotional part of your heart, you could go green, but I would then suggest more of a pink. So that is the one chakra that kind of has two colors linked to it. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. But if you were going to be somebody that, okay, so I know I've suffered a loss, I've lost a loved one, and I'm having heartache. And so I know that's pink. So I went out and got a pink rose quartz, and I have smudged it, and I have charged it, and now I'm going to set my intention with it. You're going to put it in one hand, and then you're going to clasp the other hand over the top of it. And you're just going to kind of sit there for a few minutes. It doesn't have to be any timed minutes. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I didn't sit there 5 minutes, so it's not going to work. That's not really true. You're just going to sit there for however long you feel you need to sit there and think about what it is that you want to do. Now, I'm using the example of loss, somebody that we've lost. So we don't want to sit here while we're holding our rose quartz and think about all the sad things. You can think about the good times with that person, if you'd like, or you could think about what you would be like, which is typically what I do. You can think of yourself in the future, what you're going to kind of look like and what you kind of want to achieve. So for loss, I would say I want to achieve, a life of not feeling sad all the time, not feeling heartache all the time, of not feeling that dread or loss all the time, whatever that looks like for you. That sadness, that heaviness, however that is affecting you. You want to see yourself without that. So you want to kind of picture yourself, and it's not selfish and it's not greedy and it's not insensitive to want to get over heartache. That doesn't mean you're going to forget the person in the case of loss, like a death loss. If it's an ex loss, if you forget well, They were there for a lesson though, so pull the lesson out of it and move on. But yeah, so you just kind of want to picture yourself in the future, to what that's going to look like, what you're going to look like. You know, it could be whatever makes you happy: shopping, family, bicycling, hiking, just doing something that makes you happy. You can kind of picture that. So you're setting the intention with your stone. So then whenever you come back to work with your stone, that intention is in there for you. Now, working with your stone, because I really have to cut this off here pretty quick here. Working with your stone. There's lots of different ways you can work with your stone, but I'm going to go over them real quick because, like I said, I'm running out of time. You can hold it and meditate. So anytime you're feeling sad and you want to meditate, in this particular situation, you can get this stone out and hold it just like this, and you can meditate for a little while. And again, vision yourself in the future as the life you want to be leading. A lot of us girls, we like to put them in our bras. You can put them in your pockets. So you're just going to tuck it in your bra. So that's a good way. You can put them in your pocket. You can put them in your purse. You can put them on your altar. You can put them in your car. You can put them on your desk. You can put them by your doorway, depending on, you know, whatever the situation is that you are looking for. I think I said car, but you can put them in your car. The way I like to use my crystals is jewelry. It's very easy for me. My necklaces are on, my rings are on, I have everything. I don't need to worry about much of anything. It's just everything is on and I'm good to go. I can get up in the morning, get ready, and leave, and not worry about what I got to put in my bra, or what I got to put in my pocket, or what I got to put in my car, or whatever. I do have crystals on my desk. I do have crystals in my car that just stay there. You know, so there again is a bunch of different ways you can use them. The best thing is actual skin contact, though. So crystals being around you is going to certainly help change your vibration, but the closer they are and the more connection that they have with you, the better they're going to amplify. So think of it as like a radio. If the tower is really far away, you may be picking up the signal, but it's not very good. And then as you get closer, you know, to the tower, or cell phones, if you want cell phone, radio, whatever, as you get closer to the tower, the reception gets better and better and better. And then when you're really close to the tower, your reception is great. So kind of think of it as that way. The crystals in your room are going to, you're going to pick up on those frequencies. You're going to pick up on that vibration. But the closer the crystal is to you, the more you're going to pick up on that. Okay. Again, clear, charge, set an intention, and use it. Now, with that all being said, before I go, again, that doesn't mean, oh, I suffered a great loss and Julie gave me a pink stone and now I'm going to be okay. You still need to do the work. You still need to process through the emotions. You still need to, if it's a physical ailment, you still need to go to the doctor and get, you know, seen in prescription or x-ray or whatever it is you need to do. These crystals are going to help you. Again, if you're going through something, whether it's physical or emotional, spiritual, whatever, I can certainly do a card reading. I can do pendulum questions. I can suggest crystals for you. We can look at your astrological charts. There's like all kinds of things that I can do to help. But I am not going to heal you. You are going to heal you. And same as your doctor isn't actually going to heal you. Your doctor can tell you what you need to do, and then you can do it. Obviously, if he tells you you need surgery, you're going to need a surgeon. But ultimately, healing is done by you, not by me, not by a doctor. The doctor tells you you need to take a prescription, and you don't take the prescription, well, then that's your fault. You didn't take the prescription. You didn't get better. So it's ultimately up to you to heal yourself. Again, if you have a prescription and you don't take it, it doesn't do you much good. If you have a crystal and you don't use it, it doesn't really do you much good. Okay? I hope that makes sense for everybody. If anybody has any questions, as always, comment, send me a private message, whatever you feel comfortable doing. And I will certainly work with you on however I can and direct you. So with that, I need to go because I'm going to be late again for work. And I love you guys. Have a great day. And remember, be kind. Your kindness could change your day and someone else's.